Hey guys, it's Miss Haggerty. So this video is to help explain to you guys the assignment this week in more detail that could possibly be explained through text. So this week what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about identity. And since you guys are 12th graders and we're ending up the school year, I wanted to do something that was going to be a little more personal and a little more that can allow you guys a little more freedom to do what you want to do and what you want to research. So I have, as you can see, I have 4 resources right here, 4 resources that are reading resources that you guys are going to be reading. And I have a TED Talk and I have a YouTube video. Now, there are optional 2 resources at the bottom if you guys are interested in them. One of them is a documentary called Paris is Burning, which is about 1 hour long, 1 to 2 hours long. So I would understand if you guys don't want to watch it, but it is a really interesting documentary. And there's another optional podcast that you can choose to do, which is talking about how American masculinity creates lonely men. Again, these 2 are optional, and you guys can either switch them out for another one of the resources that we have. It could be a reading or it could be one of the videos. All right, so first we're going to go over this one, which is called Hers, a Puerto Rican Stew. So this will lead you to a link, and I'm going to be posting a couple questions that I want you guys to be thinking about while you are reading these resources or watching these resources, because we're going to be doing a little fun little activity at the end that deals with identity. So this one talks about identity in a sense where someone feels disconnected from it and is trying to find her own way to define her own identity. The next one is talking about an Arab American who is feeling turmoil over her identity because of the way other people are treating it. And this takes place, if you're a little confused, this takes place right after 9/11. So this one's called The Lost Generation, and this talks about how a whole identity and a whole generation is, air quotes, lost because of World War I. The next reading is called Freud's Theory. Now, this one is the only reading that I would highly recommend you guys doing because I think that it provides a really good context to the other couple readings and the other things that we will be talking about. Because this one goes over his theory of id, ego, and superego and how they relate to identity. So I feel like this is a really good psychological perspective, rather than a more emotional perspective that the other readings and videos take. Now, this is the TED Talk that talks about the power of vulnerability. Ooh. When you look at and it's by Brené Brown. And basically what she does is she talks about how vulnerability is key to creating relationships and to establishing a sound identity. And I thought when I watched this TED Talk, I was like, this is some good lessons. So I had to share it with you guys. I thought she's actually pretty funny too in her video. And I was just like, this is good. I got to share these with my students. Okay. And then the YouTube video is about the rapidly changing UK drag scene. And so it takes place, Cheryl Hole and the Vivian are 2 major drag queens, very famous drag queens in UK. So this takes a very vulnerable lens, and it talks about how the drag community has been changing a lot and how it has impacted the gay community and how a lot of safe places have been going out of business and the impact that has with a lot of different communities. Now, the next 2 ones, one of them is a documentary, Paris is Burning. It's free on YouTube. And I watched this, I think like a year or 2 ago, and I recently rewatched it. This is a documentary about the drag scene in the 1990s and the ballroom scene. And this, I would say, this documentary shows a very vulnerable side to the community and played a very important role in the de-villainization of gay men and of the queer community in popular culture. Although I would look up, if you guys are interested in watching this, since it is an optional one, I would look up also criticisms of this film, because the director did take a lot of advantage of the people, of the stories of these people. And the final one is a podcast. I love a good podcast. Love a good podcast. And this one is talking about how American masculinity creates lonely men. And so basically it goes on to talk about how we tend to shut down the more emotional sides of men because it's seen as, in air quotes, more feminine. And this creates a lot of loneliness. All right. So what we'll be doing for our assignment, I'm really excited about it, and I'm going to post more details about it. So basically what we're going to be doing is we are going to be talking about identity, obviously, but it's going to be your identity and what you're going to be talking about and how the different parts of your identity interact with each other to create you. Identity can take a lot of different forms, like who you are, what you do, your hobbies, and your job if you have one. You know, it's basically identity is how you identify as, who you surround yourself with, things like that. And so I'm going to post a lot of questions that you guys can pull on in order to create a digital or physical billboard of things that create your identity. You can draw, you can like take clippings from magazines or online, you can create a video. I want this to be really open-ended because as it is, it's like the end of the year. I think it's really important to be able to reflect on your identity with whatever future you have and what might be held to you, you know? So as you enter this new stage of your life out of high school, it's important to kind of know who you are and who you want to be and what your identity is and what you want your identity to be. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm going to be posting more details in this module on identity. It'll be the very first assignment, and I'm really, really excited for what you guys have in store. All right. Well, peace out.